today. UFC 322 goes down this Saturday night in Madison Square Gardens in New York City. And we are going to go over the rest of the card because I've already gone over the main and the co-main event. Go check it out in my last video. But right now we're going to dive off into the rest of the card because believe it or not, the UFC delivered not only with a main card but also with the undercard. You know what I'm saying? There's under, there's overs, there's all types of angles. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy Matt, and it's Go Cardinals as we just beat the UK Wildcats yesterday. That's what I'm talking about. It's always Louisville over Kentucky. That's how it goes down. Nevertheless, the Cards back on top, never left. The Ravens back on top. This is a good week for your boy Matt. Let's get off into some fights. So, as I said in my last video, I broke down the main and the co-main event as I checked my Nizzos. And right now, I wanted to get off into some of the other fights that are going to be going down on this card, UFC 322. So let's start out, okay? We already talked about Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. We already talked about the main event, Jack Della versus Islam. Now let's talk about Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Of course, at welterweight. This is the number 2 ranked fighter, being Sean Brady, facing the number 8, which is Michael Morales. Man, I went back and forth on this because what this fight is to me, when I look at it on paper, I feel like Sean Brady definitely takes the win. But what's interesting about this fight is that we don't really know a ton about Michael Morales. We know he's a vicious striker. We know he can go on the ground. We know he's got scrambles. We know all of this. We know he's accurate. We know he's got a chin. You know what I'm saying? He'll take some shots. We know he's not easily defeated when he is taken down to the ground and held down on the mat. We know that he will stay the course and continue the fight until it's over. But there's still a lot of unknowns about him. And what we don't really know is when he faces the fighter, the caliber of Sean Brady, can he remain in the fire once he's been taken down multiple times? Because I'm sure Sean Brady's going to get him down. Can he continue to battle back up to his feet and then go to work on Sean Brady while standing? Can he do this before Sean Brady closes the distance and takes him down again? And then he gets back up to his feet and Sean Brady suplexes him down again. You see what I'm saying? We don't really know a ton about Michael Morales. And it's weird to say Michael Morales and then follow with his morale. But we don't really know. He seems extremely confident in the octagon. He seems like the type of dude that could get taken down multiple times by Sean Brady, get back up, go right back into his game plan, and try to make his mark on the feet. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see him being able to cinch up a ghillie or anything like that to defeat Sean Brady. So I would think this would have to, if he's going to win this, it would have to happen on the feet. But there's just so many unknowns about him. Man, I got to go along with Sean Brady to go out there and to defeat Michael Morales and to continue his ascension to the top to try and get a welterweight title shot. I just think Sean Brady's physicality is going to be a little bit too much for Michael Morales. And like I said, when you're facing a guy like Sean Brady, yeah, he can throw hands. He's got power, of course. You can tell by looking at him, he's a powerful dude. I'm not necessarily looking for him to wobble or hurt Michael Morales or finish him via the feet, but I do think that he can go out there and win a 3-round decision because he continues to pour on that wrestling pressure, continues to drag Michael Morales to the ground. Once Michael Morales is slightly missing a few steps because he's been taken down multiple times. I think Sean Brady can put a stamp on it by even belly to back in the man, suplexing him down to the ground to put that stamp for the judges to see. You know what I'm saying? Because Sean Brady, if he wants to, he can ragdoll guys. I don't believe he could ragdoll Michael Morales early in the fight, but if he continues to pour on that wrestling pressure and continues to take him down, I feel like Michael Morales might end eventually wilt. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he gets finished, but I do think that Sean Brady can go out there and win like a 29-28 decision. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go along with Sean Brady to go out there and get the win. Let's move on. We got Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. I ain't going to hold you. Carlos Prates goes out there and finishes Leon Edwards. Let's be real. This is not the same Leon Edwards that shocked the world with the head kick and it had his coach out there, making the training video for all of us with the, "You letting him bully your son." This is not that. This is not that Leon Edwards. Okay, that Leon Edwards, he left a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? He left a long time ago. He's already moved away. There's a Ford in address and everything. He been gone, right? So that's not this Leon Edwards. And based out of Leon Edwards' last few performances, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not seeing him being able to go out there and defeat the dart-blowing assassin. And when I say dart-blowing, I'm talking about the man that be puffing them cigs up in the club, beer in hand, followed by a heavy drink, partying his night away. You know what I'm saying? Leon Edwards can't do nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? Leon Edwards cannot do nothing with a fighter entering in the octagon with a lung full of cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Both lungs full of cigarette smoke and other types of smoke. Man, come on, man. Come on, man, watch out. We're not doing that. Leon Edwards is going to get finished. It makes me sad because I was a huge Leon Edwards fan, but Father Time gets to us all. I got to go along with Carlos Prates to go out there and get the win. How about Beneil Dariush, Big Dariush, stepping in the octagon with Benoit Saint Denis? Man, I got Benoit Saint Denis to go out there and get the win. I know in Dariush's last fight against Money Moicano, he was looking good. He was looking rejuvenated. He was looking solid. But, I think he was very committed going into that fight because he wanted to show that he could still hang with some of the cats of the younger generation and that it wasn't time to put him out to pasture. But I feel like Benoit Saint Denis is rejuvenated. You know what I'm saying? His last fight, he definitely looked poised and solid to make a run. You know what I'm saying? I got to go along with Benoit Saint Denis. I don't believe he's going to finish Dariush, but I definitely think he could easily win a 3-round decision over Dariush. I think that Benoit Saint Denis possesses the ability that if Dariush gets this to the ground, Benoit can get back to his feet or at least ride out the round and not be finished with some sort of a submission. And as the fight goes on, I believe that Benoit can actually pour on the pressure while on the feet, maybe eventually secure a takedown or two against Beneil Dariush and beat him with some top pressure. But I don't really see Saint Denis actually finishing Dariush. Like I said, I think he's going to win a 3-round decision. So I got Benoit Saint Denis to go out there and get the win. Next, we got Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. This one I went back and forth with. And I wasn't really sure. I mean, my inclination from the jump was to pick Rodolfo Vieira, right? I mean, Bo Nickel, let's be real, he just did not look good against Henner de Ritter, right? But as we know, de Ritter is just a different individual. He's a different dude, man. And I mean, when you think he's about to cruise to a win, he does like he did in his last fight, and he goes out there and he quits. So there's something to be said there. Was that a bad night for Bo Nickel and a good night for de Ritter? You know what I'm saying? Or is Bo Nickel not really up to par, up to snuff, if you will? Can he cut the mustard, if you will? Man, watch out. And then Rodolfo never really pours on a ton of volume. And even though he's got to be an outstanding submission artist based out of his BJJ background, you know, he doesn't finish as many people as you would think. Definitely not on the feet, but even with submissions. So, man, I think Bo Nickel might be slightly game. I think he is game. I think based out of his wrestling career, you know, when you put him in a situation like he was embarrassed last time against De Ridder, I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. I think he's going to come back with a fury. I don't see him finishing Rodolfo, but I think he can beat him in a 3-round decision. So I got Bo Nickel to go out there and defeat Rodolfo Vieira via 3-round decision. Let's move on. Let's talk about Roman Kopylov going in there against RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? The Brazilian Obama. You know what I'm talking about. Man, I ain't gonna hold you. I got to go along with RoboCop, man. I think Paulo Costa exposed a lot of holes in the game of Roman Kopylov in his last fight. And I think when Kopylov is faced with a fighter that can, you know, back him up with a lot of pressure, the same way that Paulo Costa did, I think he folds. And I think if anything, now, you know, the longer the fight goes, then it's more in Kopylov's favor. Because Gregory Rodriguez, he will gas out, straight up. The man will gas out. But with that being said, man, I got to go along with Gregory Rodriguez. Because I think he's going to come in first round and apply that pressure and back up Roman Kopylov. And he's going to be throwing those heavy shots. And Kopylov definitely doesn't want to go to the ground with him either. And I would say that if he doesn't get Kopylov out of there in the first round, I feel like he can get him out the first half, beginning half of the second round, still applying that pressure. But if at the end of the third round he hasn't gotten Kopylov out of there, there's a good chance Kopylov comes back. But I got Gregory Rodriguez to go out there and get the win. The Brazilian Obama. Let's move on. Let's talk about Erin Blanchfield stepping in the octagon with Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez, the woman that was in the biggest fight of her life against Rose Namajunas and had a fake eyelash pop off of her face. I got to go along with Erin Blanchfield. You can take one look at both of these women and you can tell Erin Blanchfield ain't wearing a lick of makeup. She's not putting on no fake eyebrows. Erin Blanchfield is the type of female that rides to the bar with the fellas and is down in beers. You know what I'm saying? That's the type she is. You know, she's hanging with the boys. You know what I'm talking about? So with that being said, man, I got to go along with Erin Blanchfield to go out there and get the win over Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez is extremely tough. So I think Erin Blanchfield beats the brakes off of her for 3 rounds, but I don't believe that she'll finish Tracy Cortez, you know, unless it's some sort of a head and arm choke or something along those lines. But outside of that, I don't think she finishes Tracy, because Tracy is dog tough. But I got Erin Blanchfield to go out there and beat the brakes off of her for 3 rounds. How about Malcolm Wellmaker stepping in the octagon with Cody Haddon? This fight is going to be a banger. It's going to be a back and forth war in my opinion. But I think Malcolm Wellmaker has a little bit more in his arsenal to get the job done. A little bit more accurate. A little bit more power. Seems to have a little bit better of a disposition for the octagon, you know what I'm saying, mentality-wise. I got to go along with Malcolm Wellmaker to go out there and get the win. How about Cal Dawkins stepping in the octagon with Gerald Meerschaert, GM3? Unfortunately, guys, GM3 takes a loss, and that is my decree. Man, I got to go along with Cal Dawkins to go out there and get the win. Cal Dawkins looked rejuvenated in his last fight. He actually went out there and finished an opponent, which is amazing for him. I got to go along with Cal Dawkins to go out there and get the win. How about Pat Sabatini, Paul Felder's boy, stepping in the octagon with Chepe Mariscal? Man. In this one, man, I'm going to go along with Chepe. I think Chepe is dog tough. And I'm not saying that Pat Sabatini is not. But except Pat Sabatini thinks he's going to kind of lie and pray and kind of get into that wrestling game and keep Mariscal down. I don't see that happening. I think Chip A is dog tough. I got to go along with him, man. I think he's actually going to have enough. I think he wins by decision. I don't think he finishes Pat, but I think he goes out there and gets the win. How about Angela Hill stepping in the octagon with Fatima Klein? Man, Angela Hill, I think it's finally set in. I think Father Time is finally set in, man. I got to go along with Fatima Klein to get the win. It pains me to pick against Angela Hill because I've always been a huge fan of hers, but her last fight, it wasn't looking too good for Angela Hill, in my opinion. I think we're definitely deep into the downward slope. I got to go along with Fatima Klein to go out there and get the win. How about Basanger Saragayev? Sorry about that, mispronouncing your name, sir, but what do you want from me? I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? What do you want from me? Stepping in the octagon with Eric Mecano. Look, it doesn't really matter. I got the Russian to go out there and get the win, all right? He looked more impressive in the Contender Series fights and in his debut fight that we saw him in the UFC. Granted, we were expecting him to steamroll his opponent, but still, he got the win. I'm going along with the Russian. And then finally, we have Slava Claus, Veroslav Borishev stepping in the octagon with Mateus Camilo. Man, I'm going to go along with Mateus to go ahead and go out there and get the win. I think Slava Claus had his time. He had his day in the octagon, but I think that's gone. And I think he's almost a fighter that sometimes is kind of in a position to be finished, especially against someone with any sort of submission skills. So, man, let me just take a look at this. Well, Mateus has only won 2 of his fights by submission, but he's on a 6-fight win streak. Man, I'm going to go along with the Jaguar to go out there and get the win over Slava Claus. So that is the rest of the fights at UFC 322. It goes down this Saturday, Madison Square Gardens, New York City. You know what I'm saying? With the roaches and the rats. No disrespect if you from NY, but some weird things going on up there. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you agree with these picks, with these takes. Remember, is it Matt or is it fact? You let me know. And once again, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.